That is such a deep question. Life lessons. I think that's just a threat. When are you starting your magic course? What is the case? Hello, I'm Matthew Lamotte, three-time magic champion and lover of Battenburg, and today I'm doing a Q&A. Let's do it. So the first question is from Meniv, and he asks, what made you learn magic and how to start learning magic? I was 6 years old when I was inspired by magic. I saw a magician on television called Paul Daniels, I think. My older brother had a Paul Daniels magic set. Started playing with that, doing mini shows for my family. Just kept on getting books and tricks and other magic every single Christmas and birthday. I put on shows for friends and family, etc, etc, and that is how it all kind of went. My short answer would be an obsession. Magic just became an obsession and still to some extent is today. I absolutely love magic. It is who I am. How did I start learning magic? Books. And we didn't have I didn't have the internet at that point. The internet wasn't a thing. God, so old. Desperately old. No, the internet wasn't a thing, so I had books and my dad helped me read those books, and I remember like tears of frustration. Blood, sweat and tears have gone into my journey in magic. I joined a magic club when I was about 11 and that was about it. That's kind of how I kind of learned magic, and by doing. Learning best is from doing, 100%. Who inspired you to learn magic? First inspiration was from watching Paul Daniels. We think it was Paul Daniels, I can't be sure. David Blaine when I was about 11, 12, and then Darren Brown about the same sort of time were huge inspirations. Two of probably the biggest inspirations. And then there were other TV shows that were going all the time. One was Monkey Magic, another was like World's Greatest Magic, was on every single summer, so I'd go and watch that. So yeah, various different things. Himansu asks, how do you create your own magic from scratch? I have created my own magic from scratch. Do I do that often? The truthful answer is no. What people don't realise is there is a marketplace for magicians. So there are creators, performers, thinkers and historians. Generalising there, but there's sort of the four types of people. You can have combinations of those, but there are people who spend their time and make their living creating magic for performers to perform. There are some creators who both create and perform. Generally speaking, the good stuff comes from just creators who do a little bit of performing, but they have a deeper understanding of how magic works and how a performance will look. I have dabbled with both. My biggest kind of one of those four buckets is a performer through and through. I have created stuff. Have I performed it recently? Honestly, no. For competitions, yes, I've created stuff for myself. How did I go about doing that? That is the golden question, which is unanswerable. Creativity is all around us, and it takes on all different forms. So sometimes an idea has popped into my head, I've gone, oh, that'd be a good idea. It's come from nowhere, some sort of inspiration, watching something, listening to a piece of music, for example. I came up with a routine. Another way is to think of what I would like the audience to experience and then reverse engineer how to accomplish that. So for example, turning a statue into cake, I had to figure out, okay, that's what I want to happen. How do I make that happen? And I made that happen. That was what fooled the magic circle. Turning a statue into cake, that's a different story. Creativity comes from all parts. How do I go about creating them is just thinking about how I would accomplish that. And that comes with a lifetime of experience of reading and studying magic and understanding how magic works to then have the pool of possible methods in my head, which is still ever growing. I don't know every single method, and I don't really want to know every single method in magic to a certain extent, because I like to experience my own little moments of mystery every now and again. I would recommend starting from reading a book, learning from lots of books, performing, and to a certain extent performing, and then going into the creativity after that, because you need to have an understanding of magic and how it affects an audience first before you can start creating meaningful and impactful magic. In that order. If you start creating magic which doesn't have an impact on an audience and nobody will care, then sure, you've created something, but it's rubbish. It's worthless and pointless. I would say it's worthless because you created it, and that's still worth something. I take that back. But for a magical market or for a performance perspective, it won't be as valuable as if you have all of the experience performing, and then you can go back and go, okay, I think this would work and I can visualize how that would operate and be practical. It needs to be practical as well for a working magician at least. Alvina asks, upload videos to YouTube regarding magic tricks. I think that's just a threat. Yes, Alvina. I'll do that. Sarvesh asks, when was your first experience trying magic? Ooh, good question. It would have been the day after we got the magic set, Paul Daniels' magic set, down from the loft. So I would have been 6 or 7 years old is the answer to that. What that would have been something in the Paul Daniels magic set. Either something with safety pins, or some little cups and balls, possibly a vanishing coin, maybe not. Something with dice. I remember there was a trick with the die. Can't answer what it was, but it would have been from that magic set. How much expertise can we attain in magic if we start from teenage? So, if you're starting as a teenager, perfect. There's no better time to start than now, and you can gain experience and expertise. It just depends on how much effort you put into something. So, if you read loads of books and you learn lots of routines and you're just playing a lot and performing and trying and doing lots of failure, then you'll get a lot of expertise and knowledge really quickly. The quickest way to learn is just to fail lots and try to fail as well. It sounds horrible and it sounds like that would be the worst thing a magician could possibly do, but the best time to fail is in the first few years of starting, because nobody's expecting anything, you're not charging anything for your performances, and it's just friends and family, so you're in front of a safe crowd. But my advice would be just perform everywhere and anywhere and learn as much as possible. Go onto YouTube, read books, downloads, all that kind of stuff. Just learn as much as you can and perform, practically perform, and just get in front of an audience as quickly as possible. Practice is definitely a massive part of being a magician, but I think there's so much more to learn just being dropped straight into the deep end and just doing stuff and getting a lot of stuff wrong. It's the quickest way to gain expertise and understanding of how it all works, and you'll be better quicker. That's the quickest way to getting good at anything. It's just failing lots. How quickly depends on how much time you put in. I'd recommend at least 30 minutes a day. There you go, that's my recommendation. I was obsessed with magic. I was spending hours a day as a teenager learning stuff and trying stuff. Visameti Roger asks, best tips for beginners in photography and filmmaking and editing, please. I want to start them, so I want your guidance. Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm glad you like the videos. I would say I'm not the best person to ask about those sorts of things. I can only tell you the gear I've got, which is all in the description below. I've linked all of my gear up, so you can check that out. Best piece of advice I can say for all of that stuff is just to do it lots. Watch lots of YouTube videos. Check out YouTubers. Watch other channels and see what they do. YouTubers that spring to mind, Becky and Chris, their stuff's really aesthetic, looks really great. I know they've got some tutorials. Peter McKinnon is another person to check out, see how he does stuff. There's the Finnish guy, I've forgotten his name, I'm going to find his name. His channel is called That Icelandic Guy. So yeah, I would check out Peter McKinnon, Becky and Chris, and That Icelandic Guy, and they'll have better explanations of how to do good photos, videos, and editing, and all that good stuff. Also, check out the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, Ali Abdal, check that out. That's how a lot of people are now getting onto YouTube and getting good at all of that stuff, so I'd recommend that as well. Affiliate link down below. Now over to Instagram, and Fabs41 asks, who's your favourite cousin? That's my cousin asking that question. It's the one that sends me the most money in the post. That's my favourite cousin. We have Ahmed, who asks, how did magic play a part in your childhood/upbringing? Good question. Because I started so young, at 6 years old, it was kind of my shield throughout primary school and secondary school. And what I mean by that is it was a gimmick that I had, which I could then use. It was like an intermediary between me and other people. I had magic in between, so I could do the magic and then use that as a social tool. I wasn't a shy. I've spoken to my mum about this, and I've said in the past that I was a shy kid. Apparently, I wasn't a very shy kid. I was quite open and explorative and quite curious as a child. And so social interactions wasn't necessarily a problem for me at all. But I remember being a people watcher and kind of trying to. I don't know. I can't answer these questions accurately because I was 6, guys. My mum probably knows more, but I think it gave me a social tool and something that I could focus on and feel comfortable and confident in, and it helped me explore myself and other people quicker than I would without it. I think that's the best answer I could give. So it helped me understand people, it gave me a tool to use to then build up my confidence, people skills, social aspects, dexterity, thinking, problem solving, all of that kind of stuff. It kind of helped me build this space in my head, which I have now, at a very young age. So problem solving, critical thinking came naturally to a certain extent from my dad's side of the family. Being really resourceful came from both my mum and my dad. Emotional intelligence came from my mum, and just kind of judging situations, how to deal with things. I had very good foundations as a kid for my values and morals. So my value system and moral system, very firm foundations were embedded from both my parents, both my mum and dad. So magic was then built on top of those, and I could build up those other aspects that I mentioned. So that's how it affected my childhood and upbringing. So yeah, thanks for the question, good question. Rancho Munners 97 asks, would you like to have an editor for your videos? In brackets, I can help. At the moment, I'm not looking for an editor. However, if you DM me and you're interested in editing a video, I'm happy to throw you a video to see what it looks like, come back. If I like it and I can afford you, then maybe we can talk, because editing is a bit of a bottleneck for me at the moment. So drop me a DM. Let's see what happens. Godfrey Gnomes asks, what life lessons has magic taught you? Ooh, that is such a deep question. Life lessons. That's really got me thinking. I kind of want to give this a thoughtful answer, which I think is going to be a bigger video. Off the top of my head, I think the life lessons it's taught me is that perseverance is worthwhile. Anything is possible within reason. Failure is okay, and being able to read a room incredibly quickly. Is that a life lesson? That's maybe not a life lesson, but I still think that's relevant. I can be quite a chameleon when it comes to performing, and just generally in my personal life. I can adapt and shape myself to a social situation to make that social situation feel comfortable for me and others around me. So emotional intelligence, it probably enhanced my ability to read a room and be emotionally intelligent enough to read somebody's state of mind or status. Not that I'm perfect at it, I don't think anybody is, but it's definitely enhanced that aspect of my life. Is that a life lesson? I'm not quite sure. But those are the things that I would say off the top of my head. That's going to be a bigger video. I think that's a great question, and I'm going to turn that into a video. APM Parker, do you own a mop? Yes, I do. I hope that answers your question. And Elizabeth Phillips asks, when are you starting your magic course? Liz, you know, so basically I'm considering starting a magic course. I don't know quite how to go about it. I know exactly what I want it to look like, the end product, in like 10 years time. So when am I starting a magic course? I expect to have something happening in 2022 by April 2022. Something will be happening with a magic course. If you're interested in a magic course and you're watching this, you think that would be a good idea, drop some comments below. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts. Excellent. Thanks guys. If you like this video, then you should probably check this one out. It's really, really good. Like really good. Check it out. In a bit. Photograph. I have 2 cousins. I have more than 2 cousins. Let's start this again.